I was thinking about a theme and I came up with one called Strong Back, Soft Front. Um, and this is really inspired by a book that I've been slowly reading or really rereading this week from my Zen teacher, Roshi Joan Halifax. And the book is called uh, Being with Dying, Cultivating Compassion and Fearlessness in the Presence of Death. But one thing that I've really noticed from reading this book is that there's a lot of wisdom in it about living. And so be um, we'll be touching on some of those themes in today's talk, as well in the seated meditation practice. And for those of you who may be tuning in for the first time, I'll give you a little foreshadowing, the run of show. So the way um, the run of show will be this morning is that we'll begin with a meditation practice, about 30 minutes, and then we'll have a break for some movement with Emily. And then we'll go into the Dharma talk, also about 25 minutes. And then we'll have some time for sharing and reflection, where as a community we can come together and share from our hearts and our own experience about what's really alive for us in this moment and our meditation practice. And then we'll close out the meditation session with an announcements and closing. So that's the run of show. And once again, just a really warm welcome from the Center for Mindful Living. We really do strive to be inclusive and welcoming in everything that we do. And then you'll um, also be seeing in the chat later on other ways and to join us. A variety of classes and teachers on the Center for Mindful Living platform. So once again, for those who are just tuning in, thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing your practice today. I've also been thinking as we approach the 4th of July in the United States, I've been doing some reflection on this concept of freedom. And just knowing that through our mindfulness practice, we can really cultivate inner and outer freedom. And we often speak about freedom generally as something political or constitutional or external. And of course, those freedoms matter deeply. They shape our ability to gather, to speak, to worship in our society, to organize, and also to live with dignity, these values of freedom. And as I was mentioning in our meditation practice, we're also invited to explore another dimension of freedom, and that's freedom of the heart and mind. It's not freedom from difficulty or uncertainty or grief, but it is freedom to pause before reacting, a sense of freedom to stay present when we want to run away. It's also a freedom to respond with more care and compassion rather than fear. The freedom to meet ourselves and one another with more honesty and courage and compassion. So that's some of the theme for today. And through mindfulness practice and our practice, the meditation that I planned for this morning, along the themes of of freedom, I want to bring in this image of strong back, soft front, with some simple guidance. So if you haven't already, inviting you to find a comfortable position for meditation. Really taking some moments to arrive, to settle in, to settle down. Whether you're seated or lying down. A comfortable position that you can hold for about 30 minutes of a practice. And in this meditation, we will practice settling down and finding stillness within ourselves. Being at peace with this moment, no matter what the moment brings. With your eyes soften, slowly becoming aware of your breath and your body in this moment. Letting your body soften. If you're sitting in a chair, relaxing your legs, putting both feet flat on the floor. If you're seated on a cushion, arranging your legs in whatever way is most comfortable for your body. Being present to the sense of gravity. Inviting the groundedness of the earth into your body and mind. Allowing your whole body to experience the strength of your stable connection with the earth. Relaxing into that stability. It may be helpful to take a few deep in-breaths, followed by long, slow out-breath. Inhaling through the nose, inhaling a little bit more, and gently letting the breath release through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose, adding a little bit more, and gentle exhale through the mouth. Just doing that a couple more times to calm the mind and body through your breath. Now bringing your awareness into your spine, breathing into your spine, appreciating how vertical, strong, flexible it is. And rocking gently side to side as you settle your posture. Upright as best as you can. The strength of your spine allows you to uphold yourself in the midst of any condition. You can remind yourself of this strength by silently saying, strong back. Your mind and your back are connected. Feeling the sense of uprightness and flexibility in your mind. Now allowing your awareness to go to your belly, breathing into your belly, allowing your breath to be deep and strong as your belly rises and falls. Feeling your natural courage and openness as you breathe deeply into the belly. This courage from within. Slowly shifting your awareness to your chest, your front body, the open feeling of this space as your shoulders relax down and back. The open feeling of the front body. Allowing yourself to be present. Present to your own suffering in mind, in body, in life. And to the fact that just like you, others also suffer. Imagine being free from suffering and helping others to be free. Feel the strength of your resolve rising from your belly. Allowing your heart to be open. Releasing any tightness as you allow your breath to pass through the heart. Reminding yourself of your own tenderness by silently saying, soft front. And slowly bringing your awareness to your lungs. With your spine upright, letting your breath fully enter your lungs. Filling your lungs softly with air. With gratitude. Remembering that your life is supported by each breath. What a miracle. At this point, the whole front of your body may begin to feel open, receptive. Through your open body, you can feel the world. Which needs compassion. And through your strong spine, you can be with suffering. With equanimity, or more calm, abiding. Allowing these qualities of equanimity and compassion to intermingle. Allowing them to inform one another, giving you a genuine presence, strong back, soft front. bringing your awareness to your shoulders, allowing them again to soften and relax. Welcoming everything into your consciousness. Whatever sounds, smells, tastes, or feelings arise, simply allow them to pass in and out of your awareness as you keep your mind on your breath. Allowing yourself this simplicity, allowing yourself to relax, to drop into a place that is deeper than your personality, deeper than your identity, deeper than the stories you tell yourself. Dropping deeper into just sitting, just sitting. to the closing of this meditation practice, may we gather the merit of our shared practice and extend it to all beings with wishes of kindness and compassion from our soft front, from our hearts. And may all beings be free from inner and outer harm, including ourselves. May all beings experience joy and well-being. A deep bow of gratitude to each of you today for sharing your practice. Taking some time to slowly come back. In your own time. Movement to your body and just tuning in. What's alive for you in this moment? After this meditation, maybe noticing how you feel from when you arrived now. Present. So continuing on this theme of the finding inner and outer freedom, strong back, soft front. I wish to begin with a simple-ish question. And that is, can we stay? Practice. Can we stay? Can we stay with breath, this body, this feeling? Can we stay? I don't know what to say when we can't fix what's happening. Can we stay without turning away? And as I mentioned, I've been rereading a book by Roshi Joan Halifax. And when people hear this title, even myself, when I picked up the book, I'm like, oh, okay, this is a book about death. And of course it is. Of her life, accompanying people at the end of life. And she does write with great tenderness and clarity about what it means to be present at this threshold. But the more I sit and read through the book, the more I become aware that it's also about living. And she's guiding the reader to meet what we can't control and how to stay present when life does become tender, uncertain, uncomfortable, heartbreaking. So her guidance is also infused with compassion, not as an idea, but as a way of being with what's present. And that's why this question keeps returning. Can I stay? Can we stay? And it's a question for many facets of our life, I believe, be it the workplace, the doctor's office, our meditation cushion, a difficult conversation. And it's a question for the world that we're living in now. And so often, you may notice that when discomfort arises, there might be a tendency like, stay back. I want to move away from it. It's easy to distract ourselves these days. Pick up the phone, become busy, clean the kitchen. I'm very good at that. Let's go back to cleaning something. Turning towards almost anything except the rawness of the moment. And of course, this is human. We all do this. But when we sit down in meditation, or in Zen, we say zazen, simply, quietly sitting, we can engage in something different. And you may have noticed it this morning during practice or other days. We sit down, we become still, we feel our breath, we feel the body, we slow down, and then we can see in the mind more clearly, ruminating, planning in the future, rehearsing, judging. And then gently, without trying to get too invested in our thoughts, we return to this breath, to this body, to this moment, again and again. We're actually training to be in this moment. And so this theme, strong back, soft front, is also one of Roshi's teachings that has accompanied me for years, this image, right? Practicing. There are even books in Zen with the title of Being Upright, and a lot of focus on the posture. And the first time I heard this, I thought it was all about posture, sitting upright, feeling the spine, being grounded. I mean, these are all very important elements of practice. Zazen, meditation. Then I began to think it was about, or also about compassion. How do we keep the heart open without collapsing under the weight of the brain? How do we have a more open, soft front? So the more you sit with this, you can perhaps see various messages in this theme. A strong back can mean steadiness. It can mean being grounded in your practice. It can mean not being swayed by praise or blame. And remembering to pause when we would rather react. It can also mean holding a boundary, saying no when no is the compassionate response. And it can mean standing up for what's right. A strong back does not need to be harsh or rigid, but it is the part of us that remembers that we can be a bit more stable, rooted. We can return to the breath. And the soft front is equally important. It's the willingness to be touched by life. It's listening. a little bit more before speaking. It's allowing another person's sorrow to matter to us. It's letting in a little bit more joy without grasping. It's admitting, I don't know, and being willing to apologize and to be changed. A strong back without a soft front can become like an armor. And a soft front without a strong back can lead us into overwhelm. So our practice is to cultivate both. A strength without hardness and a tenderness without collapse. This is also how I understand, or beginning to understand, freedom in this practice. Freedom in every moment. Like, what does that mean? But then pairing this with a strong back, we can see that it gives us freedom not to be ruled by fear, habit, reactivity. And then paired with a soft front, it gives us the freedom not to close our heart. And together, they allow us to meet life with more steadiness, care. I also hear something close to this in the teachings of Tara Brach, that many of us are familiar with. Tara often invites us to ask whether we can stay with what's arising, not as a way of forcing ourselves to endure pain or more pain, but a way of bringing more attention to life, to the life that's here. And I can just hear Tara's voice. Can we pause? Can we allow? Can we meet this moment with presence? Saying just this, not the story about this, not the resistance to this, not the fantasy that this moment should be otherwise, but just this breath, the sound, the sensation, this life. Zen Master Suzuki Roshi, founder of the San Francisco Zen Center, used this phrase, things as it is. And I love this phrase because it sounds so simple and yet so difficult. And it's a little like, he was asked by students, like, are you sure you want to use that grammar? And he said, yes, that's exactly what I want to say. Things as it is. Not things as I wished they were, not things as I fear they may become, not things as I think they should be. Things as it is. And it means we begin by meeting reality, telling it the truth about what's here, not turning away. And from this place, our actions can become more clear. Because it doesn't mean passivity, and it doesn't mean that we don't act or work for justice, care for one another, or try to relieve suffering. It means we begin by meeting reality. Just this. And bringing in another Zen master from ancient times, really, Dogen, Heihei Dogen, who said or wrote, some of you may be familiar with this phrase, to study the Buddha way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. There's a lot in that phrase as well. And for a long time, I thought studying the self meant, okay, I need to understand my personality, my patterns, my past, my preferences. But now I see studying the self also means noticing all the ways I leave the present moment, where I might tighten up, defend myself, where I might harden or rush in to fix things. And so gradually I can begin to see these moments as invitations to return, to stay in the present as best as I can when the going gets rough. So this does bring a story up for me from my own life that I go back to again and again because some of the deepest practice of my life, it hasn't happened on the meditation cushion. It happened while I was sitting beside my own father in hospice with my family nearby during the final days of his life. And this was a few years ago. Small town Wisconsin, where I'm from, in a small hospital. I wouldn't call it rural, but definitely a small city hospital where he did receive tremendous care. And he was in a room where he was able to transition in the same room from hospital care to hospice. And there was a kind of simplicity in that room that I'll never forget. At first, when he arrived, we had on the baseball game. He loved the Milwaukee Brewers, turning on the baseball. But then came the time when we turned off the television. We hung a photo of our mother, his wife, above his bed. There was nothing more to solve. There was really no role to perform, no perfect words to find. There was only this quiet intimacy of being together, holding my father's hand, putting a chair by the bedside, and just being present with my siblings. And just feeling the tenderness of knowing that love sometimes looks like just sitting still and really allowing silence to be enough. And I remember how strong the impulse can be to help or to fix things, even when there's nothing to do, trying to protect people from pain in the moment. But this hospice experience really taught me something different. It taught me that just being there, that presence itself is a form of love. It taught me that sometimes the most compassionate thing we can do is not turn away. And looking back, I do know that my practice and even reaching out to Roshi Joan during this time helped me stay in the moment, just as it was. And that was enough. That was truly enough. So today, when I think of strong back and soft front, I also think of that hospice room. And this strong back was staying, not turning away from my father or my grieving family. And the soft front was allowing myself in love to be fully present. And it's such a profound practice because it just seems like most of us are conditioned to do one or the other. Stay strong by hardening or staying open by losing our ground. Yet the Dharma invites us to do both. Can we stay steady and tender? Can we be fully present? And so this is where being with dying becomes for me a teaching on daily life. Because every day something passes away. A mood passes. A conversation ends. A season changes. A relationship shifts. Even this breath that we focus on arises and falls. So this sort of impermanence is the texture of our lives. And when we resist impermanence, we can notice that we suffer. And when we meet it with a strong back and a soft front, compassion becomes possible. Really noticing the interconnection of things. Like your suffering is not separate from my life. My freedom is not separate from yours. The breath is not separate from the world. And we're in this collectively together. And some of what sustains us on the path is not dramatic. It's the simple act of practicing together. Sitting together. In Zen, we clean the zendo and the meditation hall together. Showing up when we're tired. Showing up when we don't feel particularly wise, compassionate. And sometimes the teaching is in how someone enters a room, how they listen, how they sweep the floor, how they remain open, available, how they embody the practice. And this is also what I hear in the teachings of Suzuki Roshi and many of the priests ordained in the Soto Zen lineage, embodying the practice. He continually brings us back to the ordinary, beginner's mind, sitting upright, washing bowls, drinking tea, and taking care of what's needed, what's right in front of us. There's a story often told in Zen practice that the teaching is not somewhere else. It's in the way we pick up a cup, the way we close the door, the way we greet a person in front of us, the way we wash dishes. I have to smile at this because I suspect there's been many times when I've been washing dishes and that I'm washing the dishes. My hands were in the water, but my mind was somewhere else. But our practice says, come back. Just wash the bowl. Just take this step. Just listen to this person. Just breathe this breath. This is not a small practice. This is the whole path. And when we ask, can we stay? We're not asking ourselves to endure harm or abandon wise boundaries. This is important. Our practice is not to be endlessly available to everything. Our practice is to be awake. Awake to what is needed. Awake to what is harmful. Awake to what love requires now. So I'd like to offer some practice questions. Here's the question. Where in my life am I being invited to meet this moment with a strong back and a soft front? You might carry this question into your next meditation or into a difficult conversation. Where in my life am I being invited to meet this moment with a strong back and a soft front? Where am I being invited to stay? Where do I need steadiness? Where do I need softness? Where do I need to listen more deeply? And in closing, and to round this out, as we approach the 4th of July in the United States, may we remember that freedom is not only something we claim for ourselves, it's something we practice, something we protect, something that we extend to one another. And every day gives us this chance to practice, not perfectly, not dramatically, just sincerely. One breath, one bow, one act of listening, one moment of not turning away. May we cultivate strong backs and soft fronts. May we meet life with courage and tenderness. And may our practice be of benefit to all beings without exception. A deep bow of gratitude. Thank you for your time, for listening, and for your practice.